My first animosity against the Christian faith was when I fell in love with another boy. Well, at the times we were boys. And for the sake of his own privacy, alright, be good, I'm gonna call him JD, which is his initials. I told JD how much I loved him and cared about him and wanted to be with him. He said that homosexuality is a sin and that God didn't approve of it. But there are times when he look at me and just smile. It's like this one time in art class, he was staring at me while I was, I don't know, drawing or painting or something. I was drawing. And he smiled when I looked up at him and I said, "What?" He said, "Nothing." I said, "Come on, tell me." He was like, "It's just you look like a boy." And I looked at him and I said, "I am a boy." And he's like, "Well, he was like stuttering. So, when he started concentrating on what he was doing, I whispered to him, "I love you too." I told him that I was a wizard and I had magical powers, and he thought that I was only joking and just trying to get attention, which, I mean, if I wanted attention, I'd tell everybody that I was a wizard. I told him, and I told him not to tell anyone because people would consider me a freak. And of course he didn't believe me, but later on, about like 3 or 4 months after that incident, he told me to take the spell off him. And I'm like, "What spell? I didn't cast any spells on you." And he said, "Well, just take it off." Like he was giving me an ultimatum or something. And then I looked at him and I'm like, "I thought you didn't believe I was a wizard. What suddenly made you believe it?" And he said that I put a love spell on him. I told JD that I didn't put any spell in him. I didn't cast a spell or evoke the gods and goddesses and ask Venus or Cupid to strike him down. I didn't do any of that. Whatever feelings you had for me was because you had them. He used his religion as a shield against me, and that kind of annoyed me at first, but in the end it really hurt my feelings. But the point is, I know I didn't cast any spells on him. Whatever feelings he had for me was his alone, and I knew he loved me, and I loved him back. But it was because of his religion he couldn't express that part of himself. And any of you gay guys out there or lesbians out there know that it's hard to be in love with a closet case. Believe me, I know firsthand. I told him, I said, "Look, Jonathan," this was earlier. I told him, if you want me to prove my powers to him, I'll grant him one wish. So he never made a wish, though. He after that little thing that he thought that I put a love spell on him, he doesn't want to make a wish because I guess he doesn't want to entice me or something like that. Then we were leaving. My oldest sister called my mom, and she was having problems, and she wanted, my mom to be with her. So of course we had to follow. And I had to say my goodbyes to JD. I'm not going to say his name. To JD, and he asked me where I was going, and I was like, "Well, I'm heading to Kentucky." I was in North Carolina at the time. And he said, I can't wait for you to go. Well, about like maybe 2 years, 2.5 years later, my youngest sister and I, we came back to North Carolina to the mall, and through my younger sister, I found out that he was working in the mall, and she tricked me. She said it was a new age store that had cheaper incense and she knew my weaknesses and what kind of stuff I really want to get. Well, she knew it, and of course she used it to trick me to meet JD. And he said that I don't want to see you again. I can't see you again. God considered me a sinner, and if he stayed with me, he'd become a sinner. And then I asked him, I said, look, I'll do whatever you want me to do. If you don't want to see me again, that's fine. And then he mentioned about that little wish that I promised him. And I said, okay, what is your wish? He looked me dead in the eye and said, I wish I'd never see you again. I looked him back in the eye and I said, your wish is my command. But I've never stopped loving him. It was through him that I realized I was gay. It was through him that I had a heart, that I have a heart. And no matter what happens, I will always still love him, even if he can't love me because of his religion. And I basically blame Christianity for it, because I honestly believe that if it weren't for his religion, we'd be together, or at least pen-paling each other. But I don't know. I mean, I got fatter now. I don't think he would want me anyway. But still, he has a special place in my heart. And that's it. Bye.